Welcome back to the 21-day Self-Awareness Summit, How to Master Your Inner Voice. Today we have a serial entrepreneur and really amazing person with us, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, Mr. Peter Sage. Welcome.
Well, Sas, absolute pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invite. And yeah, I'm not introducing myself, not much more I can say, really. I think the focus really needs to be on the other people that are actually listening and giving us their time rather than care too much about myself. And hopefully in the first few minutes, we should be able to demonstrate enough value to make sure that they feel justified in listening.
Okay, lovely. Peter, so as you know, the theme is self-awareness. For you, when did it become evident and what does it mean to you?
I mean, self-aware is or can be a nebulous term. Yeah, everybody is self-aware at some degree, although many people are what I call sleeping awake. And sleeping awake really means that you're living in a reactive mode where life happens to you. And that accounts for the vast majority of people on the planet. Whereas those that are not sleeping awake, that are truly self-aware, really understand that life is happening for them. And that really starts, first and foremost, with taking personal responsibility for everything that happens in your life. Not just the stuff that you do, not just the mistakes that you make, but the things that especially that you don't even feel are connected to your direct input. Once you start to understand that everything in your life is created by you at some level, and you're responsible for it at some level, you really start to take charge, and that is the moment you really become self-aware. And it took me a long time to learn that.
How long did it take you to learn that?
Well, in my 20s, I was a big sort of consumer of personal growth and development. I got into it when I was 17. I realized there was an industry that actually taught you how to be a better version of yourself. And like many people to begin with, I thought that the best application of that learning was to go get rich and basically be successful so that I could prove to the world that I was good enough.
Okay.
Which is nothing more than a egotistical-based reaction to insecurities of feeling that you're not worthy enough to be good enough for fill in the blank. Good enough, tall enough, good-looking enough. Essentially, you're trying to avoid the primary fear that I'm not enough and therefore I won't be loved or accepted or approved of or validated or heard or allowed to be unshamed, or all of the vulnerabilities around the human experience that we don't want to look at, we don't want to have the conversation about, we're too busy trying to prove to everybody we don't need to because look at me, I'm successful. And so that was my early venture into personal growth and development. And I think, like yourself, Sas, we all know a lot of victims of personal development. And it's the perpetual hamster wheel, it's the perpetual next seminar, and they're really trying to chase an external level of validation to cover up an internal feeling of insecurity or lack, or almost there, and when I get there, then I'll be fill in the blank that I'm not now. So for me, in my early 20s, it was all about trying to prove my ego was as good as anybody else's. And it was really in my late 20s, very fortunate, quite early in some respects, that I started realizing that the true nature of growth and the true nature of self-awareness was understanding that life isn't all about what I can get, but far more about what I can contribute by showing up as more of who I am to do so. And I was probably about 28, 29. I was in the Slow Learners Club for probably about 12 years in personal development. And that's really where a big shift started to happen. And I would say that was the start of my journey of real self-awareness.
Okay, so you found it. You really, it happened to you around 28, like you said, and you started to realize that it's about what value you can give. You also mentioned that some people go through, and you went through, am I not this enough, that enough? Do I love myself enough? What advice would you give to people who haven't yet found themselves and who are still searching?
One of the biggest blocks or hindrances to allowing you to have the freedom to be yourself is a couple of things. One is understanding what vulnerability actually means. Vulnerability and authenticity go hand in hand. Everybody wants to do business or be friends with or values people who are authentic. But everybody's sitting there wearing masks of different identities, personas, trying to cover up what they think they don't want to expose as their flaws, as their fears, all of the rest of it. What they think they'll be judged by. When people start understanding that nobody really cares enough about you to bother to give an opinion or a judgment because they're too busy being worried about what they think you're thinking of them, you can start to relax a little. Now, everyone lives in this bubble saying, I'm the center of my universe, which is true. You are the star in the movie of your life, and you are in every single scene. You are the common denominator on set. But the thing with that is that everybody else, by definition, is either a film extra or a supporting cast or a bit part in your movie. Our problem is we think that everybody sees us as the star in our movie. Nobody sees us as the star in our movie, Sas. Everybody sees us as an extra in their movie.
Okay.
Now, worrying about what they think, we think of them as the star in their movie. Of course, we're not thinking about them as the star of their movie. We're too busy being worried about what we think they're thinking of us as the star in our movie. It's a sham. It's a bubble. It is a grotesque distortion of reality. And when people finally grow out of what I call goop, the good opinion of other people, most people spend their lives swimming in goop. It is a sticky, nasty, smelly mess and will not leave you better for it. So when you can give up trying to impress people, when you can really say, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's my flaws and everything, the amount of relaxation that you get when all of that stuff comes out, you just take me or leave me, here's who I am. And everybody else is, I don't need to play any games with this person. Now, if they're going to use that as some sort of level of manipulation to try to negotiate a better position, well, that's just a reflection of their values, and that's not going to change whether you're vulnerable or not. If someone's going to be disrespectful, they're going to be disrespectful regardless of what rules you have around whether you should or shouldn't be disrespected or not. Okay. It's like in a relationship. If you're in an intimate relationship, and I trust my partner, right? That's a sham. What you're really saying is, I trust them not to do something, right? Well, whether you have rules for whether they can do things or not is irrelevant. If they're going to be disrespectful, if they're a disrespectful kind of, they're going to do it regardless of whether you have an agreement, whether you have an open relationship or a closed relationship, or whether they're hiding stuff or not hiding stuff. Your values determine who you are where you're at. And if you value vulnerability and if you value authenticity, your journey in personal growth and development and spiritual maturity just accelerated tenfold. Way over the people that have done the seminars, go to the Vipassana meditation retreats, give 10% to charity. All of that stuff means nothing in the context of you stepping up, owning your own power, and being vulnerable enough to let go of the good opinion of others because you're concentrated on you being the best version of you that you can be, not in relation to what you think other people will judge you for.
Wow. Peter, you sound like you have a tremendous amount of experience of life. What did you have to sacrifice to get to where you are today? I know you've been through a lot.
It's been quite an adventure. I'll give you that. But whose life isn't? I said we all star in the movies. And some people's movies, are a horror show. Some are a train wreck. Some are a drama. Some are a comedy. Some are a romance. Mine seems to be a bit of a mixture of everything with action adventure kind of as the predominant theme. I'm cool with that. I want to be able to walk out of the cinema saying, wow, now that was a movie emotionally spent. From the times that I cried to the times I'm on the edge of my seat. I mean, they're the movies you want. You don't want to spend good money to go to the cinema to watch James Bond rescue a kitten out of a tree for 90 minutes. Exactly. That's not a movie that you're going to recommend. You want everything. And so I live my life as if I'm making the ultimate movie. And yes, it has drama. And yes, it has tragedy. And yes, it has romance. And yes, it has disappointment. And yes, it has, ecstasy and all of that stuff. And that's the life I want to live. Win, lose, or draw. I've been up and down more times than a yo-yo. Earlier this year, I did 6 months in prison. It was as a civil prisoner. Never committed a crime, never been accused of a crime, still don't have a criminal record. I learned a valuable lesson about arguing the toss in court with a big multinational that has more money than you. Tripped over a freezing order I shouldn't have tripped over, and went away for 6 months. For me, as a civil prisoner, being put in what was the most violent jail in England, was one of the most incredible adventures I've ever had.
Wow.
I saw myself on location filming the prison scene of my movie. And I was there as a secret agent of change. Yeah. One of the things about personal responsibility we mentioned earlier, you cannot change anything that's happened. So why waste energy worrying about it? And that's what most people do. They walk around as a projection of their past. If you're able to say, listen, I can't do anything about the fact that I spilt the milk. I can make a decent decision on what to do about the fact that the milk is spilt, and let's focus my energy there. But spending the next X amount of days, hours, some people decades, moaning about the fact your life would be better if the milk hadn't been spilt is just a story that'll take your movie into the tragedy zone. And so for me, I went in as a secret agent of change. I was lucky enough to be able to help a huge amount of inmates, people that would never normally get benefit of the kind of work that I can usually help people with. It was a fascinating adventure. I learned a ton about myself. I learned a ton about my own ego, which I thought I'd done some work with in my 20s, but it's sometimes you need a reminder, and contempt of court in front of a judge and pissing off a major multinational will probably be a good reminder that ego can still raise its head, and sent me off on this incredible journey that I don't regret a moment of.
Amazing.
So there's always stuff to learn. You never know where the bends in the river of life are going to take you, providing you know that your destination, that you're in the right river. If I know that my life here is to be able to contribute and give my gift at some level, and I'm going to trip over myself by doing that at some point, of course I am. Do you ever make mistakes, Sas?
All the time. I love them. I learn.
Yeah. Part of the game. Yeah, if you go to school and you don't make mistakes and you don't, if you get 100% on every exam, you need a smarter school. Old business saying, if you're the smartest money in the room, find a smarter room. Right? You don't get better at tennis by playing people you can beat. We're designed to make mistakes, not be here on planet perfect. If you don't learn from those mistakes, that's another conversation.
Okay.
And 6 months in a little cell will give you enough time to contemplate what lessons you should be learning. So I was cool with that. You know
what? Peter says, you actually remind me of Peter Pan in a sense that you seem to be on a continuous journey like most of us. And you actually had me on the edge of my seat wondering what is next.
Well, I mean, what just happened this year, I call it a graduation event.
Okay.
You go to school, and we're here in life school. We're here on earth school. What is the purpose of life? I'll tell you in a nutshell, as far as what I've been able to deduce by my 30-some years in personal exploration and growth. We're here to grow up. Now, I don't mean biologically, because we don't get to vote on that. I'm talking about emotionally and spiritually. Most people, unfortunately, are collecting their pension money as emotional teenagers. Welcome to the Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. So from my side, we're here to grow up. Now, if you go to school, as a great analogy, as a fractal example here, school's not meant to be fun. It's meant to have a different purpose. Now, it doesn't mean to say you can't have fun at school, but it's not its purpose. Its purpose is to give you an environment where you, if you apply yourself correctly, can learn about things that hopefully serve you leaving school. Right? Different conversation on the application of that in 21st century reality as opposed to the Industrial Revolution based model it was designed for. But that's a different conversation on the effectiveness of school today. Leave that aside. But the purpose of school is not to have fun, drink beer, have party. Doesn't mean to say that doesn't happen. But how you apply yourself is to make better choices in relation to why it was there. And at the end of the year, you get an exam. If you pass that exam, you go to the next year where, guess what? The questions are harder. They're meant to be. And if you pass that exam at the end of that year, and so on. So we get graduation events in life. I just did a 6-month graduation event. Now you say, what's next? Well, guess what? You train 4 years for the Olympics and you go to the Olympics. What's next? Well, every 4 years, there's another Olympics. Every 4 years, there's a Commonwealth Games. Every year, there's a World Championship. At some point, the next graduation event is going to present itself to see if you can apply yourself at the level where you can walk your talk. And if not, that's okay. You go resit the exam in some other guise. And that's what most people are missing the point, that life here is a continuous growth-centric process. And when we get that, we've got context for understanding the challenges that present themselves. For me, my graduation event, could I spend 6 months in Pentonville, one of the most archaic Victorian, most violent prisons in England, and still be able to walk my talk? Well, I was glad that I was able to, at least hopefully leave a little thumbprint on some people that makes it a better place.
I hope you did. Amazing. You mentioned that everyone goes through things. That's life. It teaches you things. If you were to have the opportunity to go back and add something to what you did, or change the curve of choice, or do something differently, what would you have done?
Just to reiterate or clarify a little bit on that, I'd never entertain the fact that, if I could have gone back, what would I have done from an energetic perspective of thinking that's possible, because a lot of people waste time there. If I would say, okay, what have I learned from this that I would do different next time? Or if somebody was in the same position, what would I recommend? Then to answer the question that way, because I see the perfection in everything that happens. As Steve Jobs says, you only join the dots looking backwards. I wouldn't swap a second of what just happened in the 6-month adventure I did, because the incredible experiences that I had, and some were tough and some were okay and some were, downright awful and some were, amazing and life-changing. Now, I got 200 magic moments that I recorded on my 6 months inside. I've only got 1,000 for my life, right? But, if I could go back and say to somebody else, is there a way to learn the lessons quicker? Check in with your level of ego. Are you resisting something that really you should be not believing your own bullshit on? Or would I turn around and say, listen, the river of life is an incredible journey. You set your goal, know that what your intention is, know that you're coming from a place where hopefully nobody's less than because they cross your path, and then ride the river. Because here's the thing, if it bends left or right, but you know that 5 kilometers downstream, your journey destination is assured because you know you're in the right river, would you care how the river bent en route?
No.
No. It's going to go left, didn't expect that. Or there's going to be some rapids, didn't expect that. But if I know I'm in the right river, I just deal with what comes up from a place of excitement and adventure. Not like, oh no, but I want to draw a straight line to my goal. No, that's a canal. There's no life in a canal. It's man-made. There's no straight lines in nature. That's man-made. Okay, so the river of life is going to wind to bring you the perfect opportunities to learn the perfect lessons and grow the perfect time for whatever's needed. And for some people, that could be 6 months in prison. For other people, it could be their 3rd broken marriage. For others, it could be 1st stage cancer. For others, it could be something different. Right? We all get our own graduation events that allow us to ask better questions, to say, what is it that I'm meant to be learning here? And to come from a place of resistance rather than acceptance first is massively disempowering. When I work with cancer patients, the first question I ask them is, because someone said, oh, I'm battling cancer. Well, their biggest problem isn't the cancer, it's the fact they're battling it. When was the last time, instead of sitting across the table as an adversary to this disease that you think you didn't deserve, you actually sat around the same side of the table and had a conversation with it, asking you what the message is it's bringing? Okay. Maybe it's to slow down. Maybe it's to forgive. Maybe it's to accept yourself exactly the way you are, rather than keep trying to change and resist yourself and cover up that self-hate and loathing when you look in the mirror and lack of self-love. And now you've finally got to come to terms with something bigger than you that could take you out of the game unless you finally accept yourself. And if you study every case of spontaneous remission, all follows the same pattern. They finally come to terms with they're okay with who they are, whether the disease stays or whether it goes, and boom, it goes into remission. And you realize that it came to bring them a message, not just to piss them off.
Can I just add something on that note? Because I haven't actually shared with you, but I myself went through cancer a few years ago. And actually, I went into remission very fast. The doctors were surprised because of my mindset, which was so positive. And I bounced back into remission so fast. So your words really touch me. I think they're quite pertinent and to the point. Positive thinking, and also think of what is that message that the cancer is telling you. To slow down, to love yourself more, find your true calling, and it's not to run around like a headless chicken, that's for sure. So thank you for that.
Everybody's different and beautiful, and well done. You're a living testament, Sas. That's I'm sure that inspires a lot of other people as well, especially women, which is beautiful. Okay. But yeah, there's so much we could talk about, and I know we're kind of limited on time. I want to give you as much time as you can, by the way, as you need. But yes, for some people, it's their 3rd broken marriage. where they start realizing, hang on, maybe it's not the other person here that's the common factor that they have to learn. People say, is it too late? No. Just because you've had 3 failed marriages, and people say, does that mean I'm broken? Is something wrong? Am I damaged goods? Well, that's like saying you failed your driving test 3 times. Does that make you a bad driver once you get your license? Right? No. Never too late. In fact, sometimes the people that fail their test 3 times are better drivers than those that aced it and think they're invincible because they didn't have to learn through their mistakes. So, I don't care. One of my friends, unfortunately no longer with us, but I got the good fortune to train with. His name was Bob Del Montique, known in the industry as Superman's father. And he, at 86, was in better shape than most 26-year-olds. And if you ever Google Bob Del Montique, you'll actually see he'd be on the front cover of Muscle and Fitness, Men's Health, in his 80s, and you would swap it out. And he had so much vibrancy, so much energy. But he decided at 65 he wanted to grow younger. I've got a father-in-law right now that says, I've just retired at 65. I'm too old for the gym. It's all mindset. Everything is your relationship to whatever it is that you're giving energy or thoughts to. And that's the biggest thing you can control, define yourself. And that is where you're not sleeping awake and you become self-aware.
What 3 words would you like to leave the viewers with?
You're good enough.
You're good enough.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're good enough. See, most of us spend a lot of our life trying to chase something we think we don't have. And unfortunately, personal growth thrives on that because they've always got a new course or seminar to sell you to teach you how to get it. Now, the reason that you take that is because you got what you thought you did want last time, but you're still unfulfilled. So therefore, it's got to be the next course or the more advanced course or this, that, the other. And you're trying to search something outside of yourself to essentially replace or obtain a feeling that's only internal. And so when people know that they are good enough already, from that place, you can go have fun, go do a seminar, go learn this, go take that course because you're doing it out of passion, curiosity, fulfillment, calling, but not, I'm not good enough until fill in the blank. When people know you're already good enough, you were born amazing. No one's got the right to tell you can't do it. And if they do, don't listen. Right? From that place, you have a freedom. If you can train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose because you understand that you don't need it in order to be validated. The paradox is usually a lot more stuff shows up in your life because you're not walking around like this giant needy machine saying, I want this, I want that. I need this, I need that. Do you want to be in a relationship with someone who's needy? Do you want to be in a relationship with somebody who owns themselves at their core, and whether you're with them or whether they're not isn't going to affect their relationship to life and their mission, which is why 1 + 1 can then be 11 rather than, I codependency and, you complete me. If you need somebody else to complete you, go back to school, right? Because then if they leave, you're going to feel less than. Rather than when 2 people are together and they're complete themselves, you've got 2 instruments that make good music on their own and together they're a symphony. But it's not like, if you go, you take the strings of my guitar with you, I've got no more song. Who the hell wants to be in a relationship with somebody like that?
Exactly.
Go work on yourself. Right? Then there's more of you to give. There's more music that you can share. And that's where I say, unfortunately, most people were never told they were good enough. They were told, get your exams, then you'll be good enough. Get a better job, then you'll be good enough. Get a better car than the guy next door, then you'll be good enough. Yeah? Sit down, shut up, do as you're told. Right? And if you behave yourself and eat all your vegetables, then you'll have dessert. Whatever it is. We grow up with a conditioned mindset of having to earn love conditionally. And when we realize that we are love, we don't need it from somebody else. We show up, we can give more of it, and as a result, more of it tends to show up in our life.
Peter, I loved your choice of words. That was straight to the point. Thank you so much for being the cherry on the cake, this beautiful summit. Where can we get in contact with you? Where can we find you? Or what can we find there?
Well, if you go to my website at petersage.com, I've got a lot of free resources there, plus on my YouTube channel. In fact, on my website right now, you can actually download all of the lessons and the journal that I kept while I was inside. And it's really a how-to manual to deal with adversity with not just a smile on your face, but a genuine way of coming out stronger and more empowered. It's kind of how to become your best when life gives you its worst. And it's a book that I want to share with just about everybody because I wrote it from an authentic, real place in real time as I went through sharing the lessons with my then coaching clients. but I want to make it available. That's there. Go download it. It's my gift to everybody. Resources online. Yeah, wherever you want to come connect with me, it'll be great to play. Come see me at one of my events. Give me a hug. And anything I can do to add value or support you, I'm more than happy to do so.
Lovely. I've already started a book and it's amazing. It's very, very authentic, like you said. Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you for joining us and for ending this summit in a wonderful way as a wonderful person you are. Look forward to seeing you in the UK or other and giving you a hug.
Pleasure's mine. I look forward to it. All right, Sas, you take care. Keep inspiring the people you do, my dear. You do an amazing job.
Thank you. Bye-bye.